Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This morning, Celtic have been linked with a striker. Great news. We have been linked with a striker. We'll dive into his stats in just a couple of minutes. Good morning to Stephen Johnson and everyone else in the chat this morning. Quite a lot of people saying good morning to you, Stephen. 3 million is peanuts for this day and age for a footballer. Wait till I get this comment, because once you see who this player played for, and he also played in Scotland. Yes, 3 million for a striker that played in Scotland. And I'll give you the stats of his time in Scotland. Peanuts for this day, but it is what it is. Let's jump to the World Cup games first of all. Alistair Johnston and Canada were in action during the night, as all the games are. To be fair, I've sort of given up the World Cup for the last couple of days just to have some me time. Alistair Johnston was rated 8.5 in the game last night. He's up there with one of the better players for Canada last night, as you would expect. I think there was only two players that were ranked better than Alistair Johnston in the game last night. Alistair ranked 8.5, and his team won 6-0 versus Qatar. Plenty of oil, great airline, shite football team, as they say. But it's good to see Alistair Johnston's team doing well in the World Cup. It's good to see some of the Celtic players doing well. But there was another game played last night where a Celtic player, got beat. Yes. And to make it even worse, for the second game in a row, did he get on the pitch? No, he didn't. No, he did. He got on as a substitute. Yang came on in the 70th minute. So Yang got his first minutes in the World Cup. I know a lot of people still talk about but he wasn't. He was substituted also as South Korea got beat by Mexico 1-0. So yeah, it's I'm just trying. It's not even got the ratings for Yang. So bad it is. Thank you. Is that a good one? Yeah. It's amazing. So yeah. Yeah, it's not even. What's Yang's? Oh, it is Yang's rating. Are you waiting for this? I'll show you the screen just to show that I'm not making it up. Yang's rating was 5.2 on the big stage. O was rated at 5.2. We all know that Yang's an okay player for the SPFL, but let's face it, is Yang really is Yang what we're going to go into the Champions League with? That's what it is. We'll wait and see what Celtic do in the transfer window. Let's jump into some of the comments this morning. Rob's calling. 3 million is peanuts this day and age for a footballer, and Celtic should be paying out treble more for better. Well, let's talk about Lorent. And I'm going to give you the stats. Well, I'll give you the club. He's from Switzerland. He's came through the system at Brighton, the under 18s. Let's just go on to it's always better to show you the screens, isn't it? It's yeah. So he don't do that. To this. He started off at Brighton under 18s, went to Brighton under 23 team, went to Cambridge United on loan, back to Brighton, went out to Salford on loan, back to Brighton under 21s, and then he went to Dundee. Yes, he went to Dundee for half a season. His time at Dundee, if I just find it. He was born on the 23rd of October in 2001. His first team debut for Dundee was a Hamilton versus Dundee game in the league. It was in the championship. And Dundee drew 1-1 with Hamilton, dropping 2 points, as the report said. Connor Smith gave Aki's the early lead. And he signed for Dundee on the 31st of January 2023. So not that long ago. He signed on Tuesday the 31st of January, lastminute.com, in the door for Dundee. His last now remember, he signed in the January. His last appearance for Dundee, he signed on January the 31st. His first appearance was on February the 4th, 2023. His last appearance for Dundee was on the 17th of February 2023, as Dundee went down to a disappointing 1-0 defeat to Morton. That was Dundee just a couple of years ago. Let that just sink in. This is what Celtic are paying out 3 million quid, or told that there's to pay out 3 million quid for. He came back from Dundee, obviously the end of the season, and back into the Brighton under 21s. He then went to Aldershot, and then from Aldershot to Port Vale, and then from Port Vale to Plymouth. And Plymouth want £3 million for the player that scored 20 odd goals last season, 22 goals for them. Transfer Market says that the current valuation is 1.5 million euros, but they've told Celtic, now we want 3 million for the young lad. Tell me your thoughts on that in the comments section. Lorent Tolaj, 24-year-old Swiss. In League One, he had 33 appearances, 18 goals, 8 assists, 5 yellow cards, and 1 red card. Now, the interesting thing about Lorent is not the fact that this is his. I don't think that this has been his biggest rodeo, scoring all those goals. No, he once played as a goalkeeper. Just turn the volume down so I don't. He once played as a goalkeeper, and this is the team he was playing with. He was on the bench. They didn't have a goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was sent off, and here is Lorent donning the keeper's shirt, and coming on as a goalkeeper. Yes, he's raring to go as a goalkeeper from this free kick outside the box. Can he make a miraculous save as the goalkeeper? No. And the first thing he's got to do is pick the ball at the back of the net. To be fair, the wall was terrible there. What was the wall doing? The wall doesn't even jump, does it? The height of the boys, not one of them jumped. Not one of them. Stood on their. Anyway, and here it is again. Not one of them jumped. I'd be more embarrassed if I was one of the defenders. I wouldn't be embarrassed the fact that strikers had to come on and play as goalkeeper. I'd be embarrassed if I was one of those guys in the line. But anyway, that is the exciting point of his career. I think was playing as a goalkeeper. So let's just remind ourselves that Celtic are going for a striker who has scored a lot of goals for Plymouth in the last year. Let's jump into the comments this morning and see what you think about it. First group winner for Mexico. Is that what we're talking about? That's Sonic Canada got the game last night. Alistair Johnson was on fire. The pundits described his crossing as world class. That's all we need. With the rumour yesterday that Celtic were prepared to listen to offers for Benji Nigrin. There was a crazy, crazy rumour going around yesterday that Celtic were looking for 30 million for Benji Nigrin. There's not a chance. Celtic will be lucky if they get 20 million for Benji Nigrin. And to think if we sell Benji Nigrin, if we sell Arnie Engels, if we sell Deisenmeier, Rio Hitati, we've already sold Stephen Welsh and Louis Palmer. Jesus. It's let's just hope that the work that's going on at Celtic comes to fruition quite soon. Ali had a game last night. A lot of people were saying that they watched the game. Um, couldn't keep to. Could be a fight to keep him if it continues like that. Alistair Johnson talking about. Will that make Celtic? I honestly can't see Celtic's. There's a lot of rumours going around that Celtic are going to spend 50 million in this transfer window. The fact is that we don't know how much Celtic will spend. I can see Celtic bringing in 50 million in transfers, and that would pay for the rebuild of the club. So then, you know, if Celtic are if Celtic have a target of 50 million as is what they want to bring in for players. Excuse me, I just drank my coffee this morning before it gets cold. If Celtic do have a price in mind for each player that they know that it is a potential. I mean, what does Ali Johnson get valued at? You know, if he has a fantastic World Cup, it was at the World Cup that we kind of found him. It's going to be an interesting time, that's for sure. Basically, waiting on Japan and Switzerland to win the group. Other ones look like a formality. Can Scotland win the group? Yang and O did a video together. Well, did they? It looks like Scotland, looks like Hitati is going to Japan. How much will we get for Rio Hitati going back to Japan? Surely it'll only be a couple of million, which means that his valuation has just plummeted. And if he is going back to Japan, it shows that his attitude has been is the main issue for clubs around Europe for putting bids in for the player. And I've said this, we've all said it. Do you know when Hatate loses the ball and he does the whole, when he does that, it might only be 5-10 seconds, but a lot can happen in the game in that 5-10 seconds. You're not switched on at the game. You're not, do you know, he's not walking back quick enough. He's not getting back into place. His reaction's not there. And other teams around about Europe will go, his attitude's stinking. You know, it's a shame for the player. Well, no, it won't be a shame for the player because he will be going back to Japan to his family and friends and all the rest of it. But it's a shame when you see players not hitting the potential that you know that they have, falling short. Don't know. I mean, here's one for you. Who was the better player, Rio Hitati or Paddy McCourt? There's one for you this morning. Who was the better player? Tell me in the comments who was the better player, Rio Hitati or Paddy McCourt? Because that's the kind of way that Rio Hitati's career's dwindling out to, isn't it? But anyway, good morning, Baz in the chat. I've been working since 5 a.m, so this is the highlight of my morning. What a bad morning you've had then, if this is the highlight. Anyone else think that Sevco will be disgustingly under McInnes? Of course they will. Just a repulsive norm. Of course they will. But since you wanted, no, where is it? 2 seconds. I wasn't even going to speak about them, but it's, you have. Let me just find this and save the downloads, and then let's upload it onto the screen. Because if there's ever a club, I don't know why we're talking about them anyway. If there's ever a club that, yeah, remember that nothing goes away on the internet. Welcome, Derek, from the Heart and Hand podcast. And back in 2018, the 16th of August 2018, Heart in the Hand podcast said, "We nearly paid 1 million to Aberdeen for Derek McInnes. I will never go a single day without thanking him for being a massive shitebag." 1 million to Aberdeen. I wonder how much they paid to Hearts, because it'll be slightly more that they paid to Hearts for their manager. And then we'll leave that there. Let's get it back about Celtic. Antlers want Hatate Bush. Canada striker Learns plays for Southampton. There we go. Striker is the main position at any team, number one position with a goalie. Celtic should be spending out treble 3 million for such. If this is the level that we have been linked with a striker that's going to cost us around about 10 million plus, I can see Celtic going out and going down the road of spending 3 million for a younger player. Can anyone check that Paul Tisdale really has left Celtic? Because if this is the road that we are going down, it's going to be a really interesting season coming ahead, especially going into the Champions League. I mean, as a young 24-year-old, does he have the football knowledge within him to play at the highest level in the Champions League? We're talking about bringing players in to get us to the Champions League. Is this the type of striker? I mean, I know a lot of people would want Kelechi Iheanacho to stay at the club, but Celtic being Celtic will go and try and get a 24-year-old, couple of million, he'd be under 10 grand a week, and thinking about trying to sell him on. You can't sell Kelechi Iheanacho on. You're not going to get any money for Kells. So this is why Celtic will be like, nah, maybe not. I don't think, he's not within the business model. So yeah, Celtic really need to come out and tell the fans what's happening. Temporary CEO with his Celtic TV videos quick at coming out with the SPFL fixture and merch. Shocking. Do they need to tell the fans? Do other I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Do other clubs make statements to the fans saying that this is what we're going to do this summer, these are the players that we're going to buy, blah 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 blah? It never happens, does it? Are Celtic fans asking too much of the club? We've just come off the back of a double. We should be all excited about the fact that we're going into the Champions League, one game Champions League qualifier. Are we asking too much that, we're just paying customers? Do Man United supporters get told information about what's going on at their club? Do Arsenal fans? Do Man City fans? I agree that a lot of clubs can make decisions like that and they bring in managers really quick and they do everything really effective. The fact with Celtic is they don't do it as effective. So, plus being on the stock exchange, they can't really come out and say, it's part of you would say it was part of a recruitment process, trying to bring in a chairman. I don't know. I think that we're just we're all getting a bit fed up of. But anyway, please tell us it's April Fool's Day. What a joke we're becoming. I think we need at least 3 strikers. Looks like we're going down the cheap route. Of course it is. People saying, "How are you?" Anyone heard the Lenny and Bruni rumours? There is no way that Lenny will come in to number 2 to Martin O'Neill. Not a chance will Lenny come in and Martin O'Neill as a number 2. He's done a fantastic job at Dunfermline. He wants to be his own man. He doesn't need to come to Celtic and be a number 2. And personally, I don't think he would want to come back to Celtic after the way that the fans treated him after he lost to 10. See, we were linked with the Dundee keeper, McCracken, on a free. So if his first name's no Phil. Do you think they know how miserable they make the fans? Or is it they're blissfully unaware, says Gavboy. Gavboy, they are blissfully unaware of what the fans are thinking. They have no interest. They turn up to work every day and they do their job to the best of their abilities. Now, whether their abilities is to the standard that we would want at the football club is a completely different question. But they are not sitting on social media. You know, people that work at the higher end of the club, they're not sitting on social media. They may go into LinkedIn for something, you know, they may go into LinkedIn, but then when you go into LinkedIn, it's all backslapping stuff, and hey, you're doing great job. This will not happen. Spending 3 million, no chance, says Joseph Davidson. Basically, bargain basement shite. This is very true. Celtic board and Dermot Desmond are sucking the life out of Celtic. Finished season on a high, then absolutely nothing. Can't even sort out Maloney and Fotheringham without penny pinching. Well, this is not the first rodeo that these people that are at the top end of the club, talking about Brian Wilson, talking about Dermot Desmond. It's not the first time that they've done this to Martin O'Neill. Got to remember, they did this to Martin O'Neill the first time round. They reined in his spending. They didn't want him to go and spend vast amounts of money. Nothing's changed. Chilwell says he sounds pish. This guy is Simon Murray levels. In that case, I would rather have Simon Murray from Dundee, the big ginger. The big ginger is just. I mean, if you think that Tony Ralston's bad, Jesus. Don't imagine getting big ginger in. We all know we know how to sell. Seem to have short arms, long pockets when it comes to buying. That is very true. It seems a deliberate act by Dermot Desmond and the board, and haven't even tied up Sean and Fozzie. Says DJ Kev. What's the chance of signing any decent players? Morning, Baz just woke. Be better bringing in Charlie Chaplin and his grandson. 3 goals in 3 years. Yes, the board are mugging us off again. I tell you, they're all right up for it. Would you take the Hearts player Braga could do a job? No, because he hates us. He hates us with a vengeance. Boards tend to always con fans all the time, every close season. Yes, they do that. Maybe we're signing him as a goalkeeper too. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me after his exploits as a goalkeeper. It's, I mean, I will show you that video again. And this was just, I think this was just after he had been at Dundee. I think it was it was the season after he was at Dundee. Let's see if we can get some of the sound for it without.
Oxford City, he scored twice on his debut. He's got an absolute wand of a left foot forward player. Former Swiss under-19 international. He's got quite a lot of pedigree, but not as a goalkeeper.
As a goalkeeper.
Oh, and off the bar and in!
Off the bar and in. There we go. It was off the bar and in. That's enough of that, isn't it? It's we can't do too much of that this morning. In other Celtic news, it's as you were, as we're all waiting to see what's basically happened. But would you pay 3 million for a player that's he did have a good season last season, but is he way overpriced? His agents are the Unique Sports Group for Plymouth Argyle. He does have a contract with Plymouth Argyle until 2029. So it's yeah. So that is your Celtic news this morning. I'll jump into some more comments before we've finished off. Balak Wisher could score 20 goals for Plymouth. Yeah, this is maybe true. Crystal Palace are stepping up for Anthony Engels. Looks like I don't think Crystal Palace will be the one that gets them, but so we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Every transfer window is just pathetic from our board. Another, other than speculation, there is if all is any substance. Yeah, it's all about keeping you entertained because that's it. It's we'll do the jazz hands. Yeah, the 50 million war chest. But as I did say that Engels, Dyson, Rio, and Benji Nigrin would end up going. Yes, and what a war chest that will be. Just think of the bonuses. Sorry, so I need to drink my coffee before it's cold. Think of the bonuses that Michael Nicholson will give himself. It'd be fantastic. Could you imagine if we bring in? Could you imagine the turnover this season if we don't spend? Say we there's no saying about it. The way that Celtic are, Celtic will never spend what they. If we sell £50 million worth of players, there are no ways on this earth are Celtic spending 50 million in the transfer market. So there would be a massive surplus of cash from transfer dealings in the summer. There's a massive surplus of cash injection just being paid into the club due to the fact that season ticket holders paid up and paid through the roof and got their money's worth, and Celtic are sitting rubbing their hands with that. Celtic have one game to get into the Champions League. Martin O'Neill, Messiah, will do it. Will Martin? Let's hope he can this time because he wasn't so successful at doing it the first time, but he did. But we weren't great in the Champions League at all. Martin O'Neill will get us into the Champions League. I'm positive of that. And then the board will be sitting with another £40 million coming in. You could see Celtic, and this is the irony of the situation where we find ourselves. We could be complaining about a board that are on course for a potential record breaking turnover season at Celtic. 50 million in for players, even 40 million. 40 million in the doors for players, season ticket in the door, 40 million in for transfers, TV money coming in from Europe. We could hit over £150 million turnover for the first time ever in our history. The board will give themselves a massive clap on the back. At the same time, you have a gentleman pushing up the share price because he's told the world he's going to buy £10 million worth of shares of Celtic if all the Celtic supporters. Wait a minute here. I'm starting to think that the whole Brian Dempsey thing is actually been put in place to maintain the status quo, to push the share price to such a level that it makes Celtic as an entity for someone to want to try and buy Dermot Desmond's shares. And remember, he doesn't own the whole club. I don't know. I think he's only got something like 30% or something. It's not. I'm not sure, but whatever the percentage is, you don't gain control of the club. You would have to spend £200 million to Dermot Desmond if it keeps going the way it is, the share price, and if Celtic get all this revenue coming in, we have a record-breaking 150 million income season. Nobody is paying 200 million for Dermot Desmond's shares to not own the club. It's a very, very clever move by these buggers. It is a very clever move. Tell you one thing. It's unbelievable. Anyway, let's jump into the comments. Yep, let's do that. Benji Negrin, top goal scorer last season, and got his money is all the board think about. Yeah, is that Sriracha looking to come back? Would take him no problem as KT is not fit yet. Probably lost pace, one injury away from being out. Long Kev, really? Tierney's not fit. He played nearly every game last season. He was not out injured at all. He's at the World Cup and he's going to have a major point under the manager at Scotland. That's a weird one. If the Huns spend 50 million, we'll spend. If the Huns spend 40 million, we'll spend 50. Well, if they spend 40 million, it means that their books are being cooked again. Because they spent 40 million last year, their income is down. It'll be interesting to see how much of a loss that they do make. If we are spending 50 million, I want 5 players at 10 million each. Oh, still no bids for Tony Ralston. He's at the World Cup. You're not going to get players. You're not going to get bids for Tony Ralston when he's at the World Cup. Today will be the day that they announce Sean and Fozzie. Well, let's hope so, because the players are back next week, next Friday, back in the door. Much prefer the way Rangers are with millions they spend on their team. Our board are skint when we are wealthy. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's all about the power. It's not about the money with Rio. It's just about getting shot of him. Ooh. Whoop-ah! That's a bitch slab and a half. They might spend 50 million, but they'll probably sell that. So some net spend or 0 negative. 10 million for Ralston, take it or leave it. Mikey boy's been on the gear this morning. Can't stand Hatate. Get rid as soon as possible. Hatate doesn't have pace. Yeah. Still Rio. None. The Derry Pelly all day long. Paddy McCourt was far better when he turned up. I think Hatate plays in the wrong position. Paddy McCourt was better than Rio Hatate. Hi, good morning. What do you want? Jeez, what do you want to tell it? There we go. Morning. Okay? You fine? Kind of in the middle of something here. Do you want to go down now? Oh, no. Go down. Thank you. Bye. Paddy McCourt was better than Rio Hatate. That was the question I asked. Who was the better player? Was it Paddy McCourt or Rio Hatate? I still think the Rio plays in the wrong position. Paddy McCourt, the Derry belly. Paddy was better. Rio thinks he's better than he is. Hatate, interesting. Ha ha ha. Will he last all year? Talking about Kieran Tierney. I think so. I definitely think so. Another Japan page with 500,000 followers. Gold verified reporting about Celtic looking at a 20-year-old forward. Oh, suits you. Yeah, another 1 million buy-in. McInnes must have had a clause in his contract because there's no way Bloom would have let him go for 500k. Surely they didn't get him for 500k. They see Celtic as a money-making machine, talking about the board. The board take the excitement away from the fans, or at least that's what they try and do. We are a club. We are not like we are not any other club, Baz. We are Celtic. Martin O'Neill has been made manager, I think, but come out welcome. It's Celtic being Celtic. It's just. It's like having kids running our club. It is that. What the fuck does Nicholson do? No idea. Where is Mikey Johnson these days? That'll be the next comment. You're awfully comfy this morning. What are you sitting there for? No? Come to listen to me talk. No, don't start biting stuff. Go away. Gosh, I put the fan on this morning. It's starting to heat up. Big time. There we go. Braga will go to the Huns. Who cares? The board have nothing but hatred for the Celtic supporters. Well, this is very true. 22 goals, 8 assists. Sounds quite promising. It does sound promising until you look at the fact that he was at Dundee, and as a Dundee player, he played. He played. Where the hell is it now? Um, he signed for Dundee on the last day of the transfer window in 2023, 31st of January. Made his first appearance, the first team debut against Hamilton in the Championship on the 4th of February. 4th of February, keep these dates in mind, and had his last appearance for Dundee on the 17th of February. Just saying. During his loan spell. Lasted just over a week, and he didn't play again. When you look at the stats from last year, you could say that is it potential at 24 years old for this guy? 24-year-old isn't potential, is it? It's not. It's bargain basement stuff. Let's call it out for what it is. 24-year-old is definitely not potential. That's a player that should be in and around at the World Cup, say, at that age, especially for a striker. Transfer market have got him at 1.5 million euros. Plymouth, Argyle want 3 million for him. Don't know, he's had a lot of loans. He had a free transfer from Brighton to Aldershot in 2023. Aldershot to Port Vale, and then Port Vale to Plymouth for 275 grand. One season doesn't make a great player. Benjamin Negrin. I don't think Benjamin Negrin's ever scored 20 odd goals in his career, but he's managed it at Celtic. Does that make Benjamin Negrin a £20 million player that can do it consistently? What do we know? He seems a bit of a journeyman. Yes, well, he's been put out on loan a lot since 2017, since he came through the under-18s. But Celtic have done not too bad with journeymen. When you look at Cameron Carter, don't say that. Cameron Carter-Vickers has never had a full season. Morning all, it's 4 a.m. here. Got to fly to New York at 6. What's the latest news? Irishman and Porter, you would be better telling about your exploits at the World Cup, filming the football at the World Cup. What game are you going to watch in New York? Not another penny, says Paul Baird. Whilst Paul, the Irishman in Porto, is he's a resident camera guy at the World Cup, if you didn't know. We should be turning over 200 million a season. Really? For Celtic to turn over 200 million a season, we would have to be getting into the last 8 of the Champions League on a regular basis. It's the only way that you're going to do that in Scotland. And you would have to be selling at least 2 players a season at 25 million plus. You would have to have the majority of your squad valued at 20 million over. I get what you're saying, but I don't think that would be possible within the parameters. Even if Celtic were to go down the road of doing a Barcelona, knock down the stadium and rebuild it. Barcelona rebuilding it to, is it 105,000, I think? Because they want to generate more money. Even if Celtic Park was to be redeveloped, could that then bring in enough income to hit Celtic towards season ticket prices would have to go up as well. There you go. If we do not want to sign, it's 34% that he owns. I kind of thought it was around about that. Irishman in Port says, good morning to Stephen Johnston, 150 million. Shows your working, or shows your workings, big guy. 150 million, I went through that. We did 140 million 2 seasons ago. Last season, our income, I reckon, will drop down to, if you're lucky, 100. My estimate would be around about 105 million. The way that Celtic has went over the last year. Remember, you're 40 million down from the Champions League, but we've still got some money from Europe. So I think it will be. It could be under 100 million. Could be 95 million-ish. We'll wait and see. We won't have to wait long because Celtic will give us the interim results shortly, and then come October, they will let us know exactly how much money they have made in the last financial year, and it won't include any of the. Let me just check this. Was that the one that you just told us about? It's in Japanese. I'm going to put it over here to translate it. Let me just close this down a second. Make sure I close the right one down and change page. Go Japan. What's the show translation? Hit the right button. Overseas clubs are in Kanda Kanto. Celtic and others are reportedly interested in the 20-year-old. Although his playing time opportunities are limited. Oh, God. What happened to Shin Yamada? We brought in a Japanese player, striker, phenomenal, meant to be faster than Daisen Maeda. Do we really... he's currently studying English ahead of any early transfer. There you go. Fantastic news. Coming out of Go Japan. Who has over 586,000 followers. Well, we'll see how that one plays out. Could be just putting it out there to try and get his. They are cooking the books for the share price. It's been inflated to increase dividends for shareholders, which only works as a siphon on the club's potential to reinvest and in the club's infrastructure. I don't think that the dividends that Celtic pay out on a yearly basis make that much difference to what they can invest. Because there's two types of different shares. Yeah, everyone's a bit on edge today. Was that wee Fozzie? Yes, it was. That was Fozzie. That was yeah, that was Fozzie. You don't hear Hearts or Rangers wanting their backroom to take a wage cut. Celtic are loaded with money in the bank. What an embarrassing look to the rest of the football world. Very well said, mate. I think that when you look at people and what they're paid in organisations in these posts at companies, take Celtic away as a football club. When you look at the business, the wage that the people at the top end of Celtic are getting are comparable to wages. Listen, if we can go and get a guy from Apple in London and bring him to Celtic, you're offering him either more. Well, you're offering him more what he's on at Apple, aren't you? To come to Celtic to build something at Celtic. He's not coming here for a wage cut. So, don't know. Did Mikey not go to West Brom? I think he did that. Give the Cats their own channel. It'll probably be way better than the Celtic channel, that's for sure. He might be a late developer. At 24-year-old, he must have met the Dundee locals and said, "This Ferry is a lovely place." It is that. I used to do a lot of work up in Ferry. Pass the ball backwards, Strachan. Plymouth obviously are bored. Pay over the odds for players. This is very true. Make Scottish football a lower standard. Clubs know that Celtic have cash on the hip and will offer us their shite. If Devlin and Braga go to them, it'll be Rangers of Midlothian for next season. Who cares about them? Ferry is nice, but don't tell them. They're from Dundee. They don't like it to be associated with the scheme. I'm going to jump through to the end of the comments. Thank you, Ernst. And I'm past the edge. I feel off the cliff, says DJ Kev. Can Celtic easily get 50 to 60 to 65 million for Benji Negrin and Arnie Engels? If Celtic were to get, I don't think that Benji Negrin's going to sell for 30 million. Let's be honest here, it's Celtic we're talking about. If the rumour is true that Celtic are holding out for 30 million, and we do get, I've not even got any coffee left to even. Are we really saying that Benji Negrin's a £30 million player? This will go against a lot of what people. If we get 30 million, the board need a clap on the back. Sorry. I know it's not what you want to hear, but if we get 30 million for Benji Negrin, you've got to turn around and go, fair play, you bunch of chancing. There is no way that Benji Negrin is a 30 million player. The ones Celtic cats meow. I don't think the missus would ever let you call that. Not worried about Huns doing. Not neither am I. Not a thing. 30 million euros is about 27 million quid. It is that. I think most fans would be too bothered about losing Benji Negrin and Arne Engels. This is very true. Wouldn't be surprised if Celtic have been talking utter shite when it comes to revenue. We have all this money, yet don't spend it, offer wage cuts instead of rises, lowballing every team nonsense. Benji Negrin's not even worth 10. And there you go. Jidzi 1888 gets the last comment this morning. How have we done this morning anyway? Yeah, it's not too bad considering it is a Friday morning and there's not a lot real happening. Right, that's me done and dusted for today. If there is anything kind of breaks that's exciting, or if Celtic maybe tell us who the backroom staff are, or if if we get told that a player is potentially about to agree I don't know. If anything happens, you know the score, I will come back on. Benji Negrin does seem to end up in the right position to get goals, so maybe 20 million, says Jed Johnston. And Stephen Johnson, you have a fantastic day as well, big man. To the rest of you, have an absolutely fantastic, amazing day, wherever you are. Celtic fans, the last thing this, I knew that would get Paul rattled. The last thing this board needs is a slap on the back. But you've got to admit that if they were to get 30 million, Paul, for Benji Negrin. Anyway, see you in the next one.